Well, now.
You know Mary and Joey and Cassie and Roxy, Lee, T-Bone, Shelby, and Sharpies. But do you recall the most important fish nerd of all? Father Fish, the shoal leader, has a very white fluffy beard. And if you ever need him, don't show him any fear. All you gotta do is ask questions. He will always sort you out. Don't forget your plants and your dirt. That will make your tank last and last. Then one cloudy tank appeared, and Father Fish came to say, if you do it this way, it will change your day. Oh, how the shoal really loves him, and how he can help us learn. With Father Fish to guide us, we will always make them tanks glow.
All right.
Right.
very, very nice.
Love it.
Oh, hello, hello, hello.
We really
Hello.
got
Good
it.
morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Cassie B, Joey. Understand Mary's just woken up, and
Yes.
she may wander in at some point.
I don't think she meant to. I think her second alarm woke her up and she forgot to turn it off.
But she was up all
Like
night.
to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's fine.
She just gave me lots of love.
She was up all night.
All night.
Yeah, she was staying up late for who was it? I forget. Simple?
Lazarus.
Who was it? Lazarus?
Lazarus.
Who's
Oh,
in Australia.
right.
So it's like morning time, his time, and like 1 a.m.
Right.
our time.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We don't do well. So morning time, his time, and like what?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, I can go on not a lot of sleep, but some people can't.
Yeah, I don't do well on no sleep.
Yeah. I can go on a few hours. For a few
Seeing
days
a
at a
stream,
time.
Father Flesh. What's going on?
Don Flores says on the fourth day of Christmas, Father gave to me 4 tons of organic potting mix.
Are we live? Because my YouTube hasn't gone
Yes,
live
we're
yet.
right.
That's cute.
Yeah, we are.
In a
My
significant
YouTube is
way,
live.
then.
Mine
Y'all
is,
see us? Give us a thumbs up if you see us.
yeah, reboot it.
Maybe. My thing's acting weird.
Oh, so you're thinking we're not
yeah,
really
reboot
live?
it. Yeah, we are live.
Oh, okay.
There we go. I had to refresh.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, I don't think we're playing.
Oh, sometimes we're not. There are times when I just never think to hit the button.
That's doing weird things for me. It's like not giving me a wrench and
Well, that
Really?
what's
that
going
happened the
on?
other day when we thought we were live and talking away.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that wasn't the case.
I know.
Yeah.
Uh,
The chat was still going, but just the feed wasn't moving.
Right.
All right, so we do have a question. James Hand would like to ask you about what was it? The chlorine test kits for like, are the Tetra strips good enough, or does he need to buy like a pool test kit?
well, the issue with chlorine is you need to know whether there's any in it at all. The pool kit will tell you it has a grade, so it'll tell you how much. Um, and that's okay, but the reality is you don't want any at all. So the strip kit, well, I tend not to like the strips,
Yeah, I know.
mainly because they don't have a much of a shelf life. If they get a little damp, or something happens, they're opened and closed or left open, then they will be useless in time. Um, so that I always prefer either the meter or the liquid test. But the pool test kit, I've got one and I've used it. I don't have any chlorine because I have a dechlorinator that takes all the chlorine out at my RO level, so it's never been an issue for me. The only time I run into it, I get buckets, 5 gallon and 7 gallon buckets from the people I buy sand from. They're a supply house that supplies um, pool stores, swimming pool stores. So I get buckets because they come in with chlorine in them. They use the chlorine and they've got the buckets. So I got a lot of buckets. If those buckets are not properly rinsed out, they will have a residue of chlorine in them, which is enough to kill any fish I put in that bucket.
Hmm.
So it's real important to me to make sure those buckets are rinsed out. And every new person that comes in has to be taught that a second time because they don't get it the first time. I was back looking at a bucket last night, had a lid on it, took the lid off, and was assaulted with chlorine fumes. And that bucket had been rinsed, but not adequately. So, you're not going to run into that problem necessarily. But the issue is that chlorine must be removed in its entirety. You can't have any left in there, or it'll kill the fish, or damage the substrate, or whatever. It's a toxin, and it's an extremely aggressive toxin. That's why it's used. Anyway,
That makes me wonder about, like, well, I guess it's different than from the bleach because I know people like to do like a bleach bath to remove algae off of their Anubias plants. They'll do that separate, and
That's
they'll like,
usually a
dilute it.
20 to 1 ratio.
Yeah, they'll dilute it accordingly.
yeah, it's a very mild solution, and
Yeah.
it's important to rinse the plant too before you put it
Yeah.
back
It
in the
needs,
tank,
yeah.
because you don't want to get any amount of chlorine in the tank.
Use another bucket. Wash and rinse.
Bleach is one. That's bleach. That's what
Yeah,
bleach.
that's bleach.
Bleach is chlorine. Another uh, dangerous toxin that for fish tanks is window glass cleaner with ammonia in it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't even clean the outside of your tank with it because it
Really?
literally will creep up. The ammonia will creep up the glass and roll over and fall into the tank.
Crazy.
Well,
It's
maybe for a rimless tank. Mine has that black rim. But I
it'll
don't think I've used it. Maybe one time.
Yeah, it's real dangerous. I mean, you can get away with it, but at some point you're not going to get away with it. And
Right.
it's the same level of toxin as chlorine. I mean, a little bit of ammonia is way too much. Doesn't take much, just a drop or so, and it'll wipe out the tank. It's real dangerous. So
Nice.
those are two things you don't want to get around your tank.
Yeah. So Dan Flores has a question. Is there
Yes.
a major difference between keeping freshwater and marine? Is it a step up?
Is it a step up? I would say it's a step up,
Yes.
but there really are no major differences. In fact, we have a customer coming in tomorrow who's looking to get mud for their saltwater tank. Now, I have used the mud that I make for saltwater and freshwater, and it works fine for saltwater. But what I'm going to do for him is, if we can get out today, and I guess we'll try it. We're going to collect some wild mud for his 75-gallon tank that he'll be able to put in the bottom and then cap with sand.
J-Dog has a follow-up question to the Windex
Yes.
topic. He says he's asking, like, if I spray it on the paper towel away from the aquarium, he's like, I can't even use it that way.
Well, you spray it on the paper towel and it gases off that much quicker. The problem with ammonia is it gases off, and it's the fumes, it's the gaseous state that's the problem, because it's lighter than air, and it walks. It'll walk along a surface vertically, and when it hits the top of that surface, it'll roll over and then can fall in the tank and get in the water. So yeah, I would avoid using it at all times and in all places, unless there is no contact between the outer glass of your tank and the water in the tank. Such as, for example, you have the tank enclosed in a frame, like a window box frame, or some such thing. If you have it sitting behind a wall where there's no access to the water from the front of the glass, then you can probably use it, but it certainly won't go through the glass. But it will right up the glass.
Did I get in trouble? My wrench is gone again.
I know. I think Fritz makes a aquarium glass cleaner.
Is Google doing that? Or YouTube?
Yeah, there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It is gone. But
That's weird.
but you still have it.
I got in trouble.
You're still a moderator. No, it's still.
What did I say? Was I bad?
I'm looking at it, and it says remove moderator. So even though it's not there, you're still a moderator. That's weird. Crystals,
Buggy.
Crystals, Pets, and Plants.
She's new. Hello.
Hi, Crystal.
I know.
Something came up this morning, and I just wanted to kind of mention it. The moderator status, the wrench that we give out relatively indiscriminately. There's you're coming up again without it. That's weird, Cass.
Yeah.
Once you have that, anyone else who is on that level, that is to say, anyone else who has a wrench, is immune to your predations. That is to say, you don't have any power or control over them. It's a side effect of the wrench as an embellishment that we really had not anticipated. But so what it does is it puts us kind of all on the same level. Now, if there, and I've spoken to my live mods about this. If and there are one or two people who have got extra authority, but that authority does not go to banning people. It goes to being able to make changes on the channel. And I do have a few people who have that level of authority. But if there's a bad actor who comes on, I need to be notified because I'm about the only one who can deal with it. I think what it's done, though, is it's kind of put everyone on their best behavior. We really don't have a problem. I think once or twice we've had somebody come in who is just obviously intending to be disruptive, and I've been notified about it, and we've knocked them off the channel. So Yeah, Father Fish is the law. There is no law. There is no law beyond my law. But the other thing about that is that's interesting is that it really puts us all on the same level. I mean, I've been on channels where there are, and Chevy Fish can validate this, where there are moderators who are abusive and use their authority in ways that are frankly not very nice or not very pleasant. Um, Although that was not my intention to avoid that because I don't want abusive and unpleasant people on the channel to begin with. Um, but I think we've created a sense on this channel that that this is a healthy place to be, a place you can let your children be on, um, a place that's not going to be vulgar or mean spirited or in any way abusive. And if such things come up, they're dealt with rather abruptly. I will just hide someone from the channel if I have any reason at all to do so, and I'm not above doing that. If it's an old friend, I may put him in timeout for a while. Lee was saying he's the only one that ever goes in timeout. That's not quite true, but that has been true. So it's I'm not looking for it. I don't anticipate it. It it almost never happens, and when it does, we deal with it. So it's really not an issue. So thank you all for being in the spirit of the channel.
Well, Fishmark commented that it says I've been jumping around to a few different streams and chats, and this is by far the most friendly and respectful group.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear that.
That is
Really?
nice to hear. Yes. That was that.
Yeah, Chris is saying nice spot, no bullies, good intro and humor. Alex is saying I've had past mods that would block or time out people at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
And he's like, I let anything fly.
Yeah.
Well,
You're like,
to,
you're the really easygoing teacher then.
but sometimes just one comment is not. You're not really sure sometimes where it's going.
Well,
You
that's
have to
right.
wait and
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
You might
the
have
same with
taken it out
teachers,
of
though.
context.
We have the same
so.
issue with kids. We're like, until you get to know the person, you can start to know where it's going. But
Well,
everybody has a different tolerance level
yeah,
of what they'll allow.
yeah, Dead Fred has made, I think, the germane comment. He says, "Yeah, I watch my language here and try not to be too suggestive. No one asked me to, just out of respect." And I think that's really it.
Exactly.
We have a tone. We set a tone.
Yeah.
Um, and people live up to that. It's just a matter of respect. And those who don't respect us don't come in. And there are those,
Yeah.
I assume.
Absolutely.
Well, it's like in the classroom. My tone is a friendly one, and I'm happy to be there, and I love everybody. But it's a respectful one. I do expect everybody to treat everyone with respect and leave everything else at the door. If you do that at home, it's not coming into the school, not coming into the class.
Right.
And then I don't know what their regular teachers allow. It's like, I don't allow it, so don't do it.
Ah,
Right.
Dead Fred says, "I've never gone live, but my first three mods are Candy, Chevy Fish, and Father Fish. So if I ever do go live, I know I got a solid team."
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, I think one of the most remarkable people on the streams is Chevy Fish. Um, and you never see Chevy Fish. for reasons that are perhaps best be left unsaid, unspoken. They are her reasons, and they're very personal reasons. But she is an amazing um, addition to anyone's channel, and is on a lot of them. And yet, even she has run into trouble on occasion on channels that are simply abusive, channels that are simply not tolerant and or judgmental, um, and and our best left avoided, our best avoided. Let's see. She had a comment here.
Yeah, she had a comment at 8:23, I think.
Yeah, she's saying being a mod on various channels requires knowing what the streamer wants. Some do not tolerate any suggestion of off color topics or language, and others, the sky's the limit. Anything goes. True enough. True
That
enough.
is true.
And those people don't need mods, I guess.
Yeah, really. Fishmar says there's too much negativity in the outside world. We can at least be kind and positive inside our aquariums.
And that's what you and I've been talking about a lot,
Yeah,
Austin, is that
exactly.
this is a place for people to come and forget everything else and hang out and be friends and talk about fish
Yeah,
and have fun,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and be able to be real at the same time.
Yes.
You know, I mean, occasionally I'll make a comment that's got nothing to do with fish and
There you
everything to
go.
do with what is most disturbing to me. But I try not to turn it into that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's really interesting. The the conversations that we've had and the kind of perspective we have about what's going on here and what we're doing uh, is very much an expression of who we are and what we're about as fish keepers. Um, it's like being a model airplane builder in a way. You know, model airplane builders spend hour after hour after hour sitting at a table with a tube of glue and little pieces of balsa wood with nobody else around, nobody watching, nobody having anything at all to do with what they're doing. Um, and I guess they got off on the glue fumes. I don't know. I've never been a model builder.
I never thought about that.
Yeah. Um, but those of us who keep fish certainly get off on the tank fumes in a completely different way, I think. You know, I use my eyes, my ears, my nose, and my mouth, and 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 my hands, my sense of touch. I use all of my senses with my hobby. I can walk down a row of tanks, and if there's a dead fish in the tank, I'll smell it. I'll pick it up instantly, and I'll begin looking for it, and always find it. Simply because I've kind of tuned my nose to that particularly nasty odor, and it doesn't take much just to bear with a bare hint of it, and I'm on it.
Yeah.
Um, you know, so we train ourselves to what it is we're doing, and that makes it. And this is what I think is most interesting to me about the hobby. It is a kind of hermitage, as I suppose nearly all hobbies are, whether they're collecting hobbies or some kind of constructing hobby or some skill set that we're developing, whatever it is. Those are things that are done pretty much solo. There are very few hobbies that are group that can only occur in a group. Most hobbies occur in with the individual in complete isolation from all other people. And that's very much the case, I think, with this hobby. We go into a shop, we look around. There may be other people around, maybe a shop owner around, but we get totally engrossed in looking in each tank and looking at the fish in each tank to such an extent in my shop that you have to work at it. If you want to know what fish are in the tank, you don't just walk fast past the tanks and glance over because you'll miss 90% of what's there, in that they'll be hiding behind a plant or some other kind of decoration, or will otherwise be relatively invisible. You have to really, you have to really look hard to see them. Yes, Cassie.
It was really weird. So I made a comment. It started out blue and then went back. Like it got removed. It's like it's being ripped away.
The comment got removed.
No, the blue. Like
Oh
it
yeah,
started blue and then went to black.
it's doing that on mine a little bit too. You know
And
what?
Tashita is here, and I thought
Tell you what.
Tashita Heaven had a wrench.
Let me. Who?
Tashita Heaven, I thought she had a wrench as well, and she's
Oh,
showing
Yeah.
up.
that's my other sister, Dawn. She's been here a few times.
Did we not
Yeah.
wrench her yet?
No, we haven't wrenched her yet, but we could.
All right,
Then
Cassie,
somebody needs a wrench.
I'm gonna take your wrench away, Cass.
Okay.
That
I feel like YouTube's doing it for you.
I think YouTube is doing it. It's not fun.
Actually, they're not. It's still, even though it shows up as white, when I click on it, it still shows that you're a moderator.
I just need that membership icon next to my name.
Yeah, make a comment.
Make a comment. Oh, I don't
Make a
I don't
comment.
know what to say. Okay.
Finally got my light to work.
It's blue and then it's removed.
No, it's not blue.
It was when I hit enter and then I saw it
Try-
get removed.
Can you try making my sister there one, see if that works?
I did.
Okay. Say something, Dawn.
Because some of them have been being blue and then they were staying blue. And then it's like, so it's like they're taking it away.
All right, comment again, Cass.
Okay. Honestly, I'm usually.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Lori,
yeah.
for posting her
Yeah,
link. Thank you.
it's okay. You're back up.
Unless it
Oh,
gets
yeah, she's
removed
blue.
here in a minute or two. Okay. I'll stop commenting
Yeah,
about that.
Shelby, Ray. What is she? What did Alex say? Benevolent gods.
I don't know.
What? I don't know. I got lost with the
No, I
wrench
got
thing.
it. Alex says it's a marvel we can socialize civilly or effectively at all with such a strange hobby that involves isolation, ego, and playing God in a way. I guess we are benevolent gods mostly. Yeah, I don't.
Well,
I'm
those
willing.
things-
I'm willing, Alex. I'm willing to be in that category with you, if only to dissuade you of the notion. I think what happens is we we get so wound up in what we're doing that we thrill at the chance to be able to share it, and when we can share it with somebody who is similarly knowledgeable and experienced, it takes on a greater joy. It's just something that kind of is very satisfying to be able to develop a discipline and a course of study and involvement in something that really is pretty sophisticated, and then finally to run into somebody else who's doing the same thing and to be able to share that, that's really a remarkable experience, and it's one that I think the Fish Fam on YouTube has provided a very unique opportunity for. We're like a very big club here, a very very big club with thousands and thousands of members who run into each other periodically or occasionally, and find something to chat about. It's really quite joyous.
Pedro
It
Man is
is.
saying, Alex is 100% right. If we make a mistake, we will kill our fish.
Oh, that's absolutely right. Absolutely right. And it
True.
happens. It happens over and over again.
Then I'm reminded of the song "Just Let It Be."
Right? Yeah, we need to play that one. That's a good song. What time is it? How are we doing? 8:30. We're good.
8:30. I'm just gonna mention. I know this has gone by the board, but when we were talking about what you clean your glass with, Chevy did mention vinegar. Vinegar, a paper towel and or newspaper or whatever. Clean the outside of your tank.
Yeah. Vinegar is pretty safe.
Yeah.
Vinegar is a very mild acid.
I use it.
Yeah, the worst it can do is drop your pH.
Yeah.
It's organic.
Yeah.
It's not chemical. It's organic. So it's not. It'll break down in the water.
But I spray it on a paper towel. I don't spray it on the glass.
Spray it on the tank. Yeah. Right. Yeah, vinegar is pretty safe. You can even put vinegar directly in your fish tank. I know Mary feeds pickles to her fish.
I tried to get that window cleaner. That's the vinegar window cleaner, and not the
Right.
It stinks though. It's stinky.
Well, vinegar has its own odor. Yeah, definitely does.
I went back. I was like, I can't take this. It stinks.
What is Sharpie talking about here?
I'm not sure. Something about. I thought
Tagging videos with fish fab.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought he was talking about air. I don't know.
Huh.
I lost track.
I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's good to use tags always. I do it for my videos and for my Instagram pictures.
James Handy wants to know dill or sweet pickles. It depends entirely on the fish. Actually,
that's right. Some like sweet,
dill.
some like dill.
I have fish that prefer bread and butter. Frankly,
the bacteria might like the sugar.
Yeah, bacteria will like the sugar.
I don't. Did Lee say something to me? Because he's giving me the Joey. I am my own worst enemy. I'm like, did he say something to me?
Where are you?
Where?
I don't know.
Who said?
At
What are you talking about? Which comment?
It just seemed like a random comment. I must have
I don't know.
something.
Lee.
8:34. I'm way behind here.
Aren't we all? We're all our own worst enemies, guys.
Yeah.
That's why we got to work on ourselves first before we tell anybody else what they should be doing.
White vinegar. Good on French fries.
I rinse my dogs in vinegar.
Oh, Lord.
And I give them a bath.
Debbie thinks I'm having surgery. It's not that bad yet. I'm just going for a CAT scan. I hope I don't need surgery.
Yeah. Well, we hope not, too.
All right. Let me see. Let's do. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, we hope not, too.
All right. Let me see. What are we doing here?
I'm not doing anything.
I apparently am.
But my comment went black again.
It's just not your day, Cassie.
I'm like, guys, I didn't want to come up today. Like, I'm not in the mood. Not feeling it. But I did, because Mary said she wasn't going to be here. I was like,
Well,
okay, I better come up.
Yes, thank you. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like struggling a little bit with my nerves today.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
So this could be good or bad. It depends. I was hoping it might distract you for a little bit.
Well, I was hoping that too, but
When I find myself.
Let's see.
I'm going to run get a coffee if you're going to play a song.
Yeah, I'm going to play it. This is Roxy's song with no video. So I guess I'll just play it and leave the video.
Yeah, do that, and then I'll grab a copy.
7 times I take trouble for the fishy comforts, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my time of darkness, he is streaming right in front of me.
We're all going.
Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be. As I stand and let it be. Father's words of wisdom, let it be. When all the broken-hearted fishes living in the tank agree, there is an answer, let it be. For though it may be cloudy, there is still a chance that they can see. There is an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be. As I'm standing, let it be. There is an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be. As I'm standing, let it be. Father's words of wisdom, let it be.
Ever visited a place that was so different you just didn't want to leave? Step into the amazing world of Father Fish Aquarium. You'll be mesmerized by his exotic collection of saltwater and freshwater creatures, tanks and accessories, plus birds, lizards, turtles, and more. You'll never find another place like it on dry land. Father Fish Aquarium, 536 East Venice Avenue. You won't want to go home.
Let's see. You didn't show the screen. Fish.
Have you seen Thomas up here?
In the chat?
No.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. Melissa just came in.
Isn't that Tom in the picture, Father Fish? Your cat's name was Tom?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking, what's the name of the cat? Fishmar. Fishmar
Yes.
Fish.
Tom died about 2 months ago. He was 14 years old. And there's a picture of him. See right here. It's a little photograph of Tom with his mother and his sister.
Oh.
His sister
That's
is
sweet.
little. His sister.
He's a
Where's the
baby.
sister? Sister's a little black kitten. If we can see her, you see the black. That's
Oh.
that's the sister.
And then
She was.
isn't this Tom?
Yeah,
That is Tom. Yes, right.
that's the picture in his.
Yeah, she was a breech birth. There she is.
Oh.
Little sweetie. Yeah, she was a breech birth, and she was brain damaged. But we didn't put her down. We found a no-kill shelter for cats.
So was that your cat, the mother?
The mother was my cat. Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the mother was given to me as a kitten. She was a stray, but she was a Persian, same color as Tom, sandy Persian, very long hair, and she was just a cake of fleas, solid with
Yeah.
fleas when we got her. And she was always an outdoor cat. She preferred being outdoors,
Mm-hmm.
and she would get right wrothy about it if you didn't let her out. She
Mm-hmm.
get right huffy and hostile, and not want to come back in. And one night, long after Tom and his sister were born, she disappeared one night. But
Oh.
Tom would go out. Tom is a big cat. We bred her with a oh golly, I can't think the name. It a really big cat, not a Belgian. I can't think.
A
Anyway,
Bengal? A
a
Bengal?
Bengal. Yes, yeah. We bred her with a Bengal. It was a Bengal cross.
Yeah.
It wasn't a true wild Bengal. It was a like a 50% Bengal.
Well,
The
they're past
male,
the Asian
yeah,
level.
the male was black. He was jet black, beautiful animal. Bred her with him, and she had two kittens, and then we had them all fixed after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We didn't try to do any more beyond that. But
And you
Tom
pet.
was a nice boy. Tom was more a dog than a cat.
Mm-hmm.
Although he would go out at night and he would catch, kill, and eat rabbits. Oh, which reminds me, um, the
Keep them.
boat in front of our shop. Now, keep in mind this shop is sits on a street. There are no grass plots anywhere near it. It's all sidewalk, street, and alley.
Concrete. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all concrete. He found a nest of rabbits with babies behind the boat.
Oh,
I haven't
wow.
seen them yet, but he saw them. So we're trying to get some videos
Yeah. That's
of that.
cute.
Can't even imagine how they got there.
She found some kind of a spot
She found a
in the
spot
in
and
the
had her
concrete
baby there.
jungle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I guess
Wow.
Lord knows where she's going to feed. I can't even imagine. She's got to be crossing the road, but it's
Yeah.
like a couple of 100 yards before there's any grass to eat.
Are you gonna feed her? Have you been
Yeah,
feeding
we
her?
put some food out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we're going to continue to do that. I haven't had a chance to tell Betsy about it. She'll
She'll
be
love it.
she
Yeah.
will she'll
Yeah.
yeah. We'll probably have to trap them and move them to a
Mm-hmm.
safe spot because it's not at all a safe spot where they are.
No, and those babies won't have any sense of traffic
Yeah,
or anything.
they'll be hopelessly lost.
Yeah.
So that's kind
Well,
of fun.
that's fun.
So Dead
We
Fred
might
was
bring them
asking
in.
what
We might bring them in. I don't know. We could do that. I don't know if I want to have rabbits having the run of the place, but we'll see.
You don't want them eating cords.
Yeah, really. Anyway, that's kind
Dead
of a
Fred, what, Cassie?
Dead Fred was asking what a Bengal was, and we're all going, well, Bengal is a breed. And then Alex comes in with the very technical answer.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it is crossed with a wild. Yeah, and
yeah.
the
The
first
wild Bengal.
generation, the first generation Bengals were not always nice. They and once in a while you can still get one that reverts back and is not nice.
Yeah.
And they're big
Right.
cats.
Here's a Bengal. It's a domesticated cat created from hybrids,
Right.
especially the spotted Egyptian Mal. Here's a picture of it here with
Yeah.
the Asian leopard.
Is it fair to call them a designer cat?
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about breeding them because I was breeding Maine Coons for years, but I decided I didn't need a second breed.
You've got Maine Coons. See, we can't get those down here.
Oh,
At
you
least
can
not
get them.
in
You can
shelter.
fly anything in, Cassie.
Yeah. But my husband won't allow that. He wants me to go to a shelter for our
Well,
cats.
yeah, but I mean, you know,
Same
it's
tie
the same
that.
as with fish, you can buy anything and have it shipped.
Yep. See, I try to do what I can get away with, but then I get like a title.
What do you mean you get a title?
Some kind of title from him
Oh. Okay.
where he calls me spoiled or something. I'll get that title.
Yeah, Tom had
Have
rosette. He
it.
didn't have the spots.
Yeah, it was crossed with the Asian leopard, and like I said, the F1s and F2s especially were not always nice. And when they were being first shown in the early '80s, there were times where some of the judges got, kind of attacked, and they got to a point where it's like, I'm not judging those cats, because they can be nasty.
What was the controversy there with them? Did they just not like how they were being bred or something?
It's just that wild gene, and the
Asian leopard
can never be tamed.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't bring them into captivity and tame them.
Agreed. I see these cats and people are like, oh, they're so cool because they look like wild cats, and they are still wild, and they don't know what they're getting themselves into, and they've got these crazy cats.
Well,
now.
the feral cat, yeah,
like jumping all over the place, and they're like definitely have more of their animal instinct intact.
And so these have been bred.
Keeping them inside.
Yeah, Tom was a uniquely domesticated animal.
Yeah,
he was very, very gentle cat. He never once bit or scratched. Never.
I feel like my kitten now, my Remy, I feel like he's got like Maine Coon in him, because like he's like the description of a Maine Coon, where you can pick him up, and he does not care how you pick him up, how you hold him. He actually loves to be held as long as you're standing. The second I sit down with him, he's like, goodbye.
On the floor.
Yeah. He is like wild though, but I swear he's got like a Maine Coon lineage in there.
Okay.
Savannah.
And he's a little bit long-haired. Like his tail is very long-haired and fluffy. But he's long. His body is long.
Well, that is one of the things about a Maine Coon, long body.
He's got a long body. I'm like, where you got Maine Coon in there somewhere? And it's funny because I wanted a Maine Coon. His body's long.
Well, that is one of the things about a Maine Coon, long body.
He's got a long body. I'm like, where you got Maine Coon in there somewhere? And it's funny because I wanted a Maine Coon.
Lee's got his YouTube.
I want to hear myself again.
Lee, no, it's Lee.
Well, I gotta wait till it clears up. Like I said, every time you add a person.
Bye, Lee.
Yeah, Lee has his YouTube volume on.
Okay.
I just took them off.
I don't know why.
You need to turn your YouTube volume off, Lee. Turn your YouTube volume off.
Well, I gotta wait.
My phone has not been working when I try to join on my phone. I don't hear, like, all the audio is garbled.
Huh. Good morning, Lee.
Mr. Wilcox.
Oh, hello. I think I made a mistake. I think I had my YouTube running and caused an awful noise there. Sorry about that. I should know better.
I should rephrase it. Hello, Lee.
How are you, sir?
I'm very well. Cassie,
Yes,
I don't know how you do it. I know you're not very well, but you look immaculate as always.
Oh,
how do you do that?
Today I didn't want to come up because I'm like, I'm going to the doctor. If he's touching my eye, I don't want to have makeup on, but I did still put eye makeup on for you guys.
Well, thank you.
Nothing else.
At least we all know, and in spirit, we can try and be there with you to help you get through it. And I mean that. Come on.
I'm probably making a bigger deal out of it than it is, but it's nerve-wracking.
You've read all the comments and all the love. Come on.
Oh, she
We're all
a lot
behind.
of love comments, I think.
I really appreciate it,
Behind
guys.
you.
It's helping. My nerves have calmed a little.
Good.
Good. Good.
Well, like I said, just a distraction. Keep your mind off it for a little bit, you know.
I think it's cold too, so I think the coldness is not helping because I've got like a little bit of a shiver from just being cold in here.
From just being cold. Well, put on a sweatshirt or blanket or something. Make yourself feel better.
Yeah, my shrimp jar is probably, I don't know if it's appreciating it. A little chilly in here.
Alex is giving you a hard time, Lee. He says, my name is Lee, and I'm a fishaholic.
Yeah. Hey, did you guys see I got my shirt?
Oh, no, I didn't see it. It's just dark.
I showed it while you guys went on coffee break and left me all alone.
Well, you knew we were leaving.
I kind of didn't hear.
Thank you.
Gillen, our newest YouTube member.
I like that one, Cassie.
It came out really nice.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It did.
Yes.
It's a t-shirt, so it's not t-shirt weather anymore right now.
It's always t-shirt weather.
Really?
Not right now.
I always wear a t-shirt.
I might do this, but I'm not gonna wear a t-shirt, and it's a little loose, so I'm feeling a little chilly.
Yes. Good morning, Gil, and thank you for joining.
All right. I'll drop that link though. It's available.
What's new with you, Lee?
In Teespring. How do you like that, Lee? Would you wear that shirt?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I don't wear t-shirts, but I would wear that one.
There's hoodies and there's sweatshirts. So there's
That's my pajamas. The hoodies are my pajamas.
There you go. You gotta get yourself a hoodie then.
I wouldn't go out to the shops in them. Whoa, no, I'm a gentleman. But I would go out in one of them. I would walk all throughout.
Right in hoodies?
No.
Dress apart.
No.
Gentlemen.
So
they're good. They're better than t-shirts.
Going on with you? Anything new, exciting going on with you, Lee?
Not really. I want to do a revamp on my big aquarium.
Mm-hmm.
And Cassie said, "Get lots of buckets, Lee." But I can't take the fish, the frogs, and the snails out. I've got nowhere to put them. And if I got loads of buckets, Cassie, my apartment isn't big enough.
I don't know why you need to take them out.
How do I
don't think you need
revamp the aquarium with everything still in there? Is what I would like to know. Is it possible even?
Yeah,
you can work on your aquarium.
Yeah, I mean, you're not completely redoing everything, right? You're just taking those 2 rocks out.
No, I'm taking it all out.
You're gonna take
out the substrate?
All the plants.
You're taking out all of the plants.
The log, the rocks.
Leave the plants in.
No, I'm going to put new plants in. I want I want some diversity.
You don't want any of those plants that are in there.
Savannah fish. Savannah fish it's not Savannah fish anymore either. It's our Lord and Majesty. Oh, all right. I'm boring everyone. What do I do there?
James?
Do it with the fish in there.
How do I do it with the fish in there?
Lord
and Master. Lord and Master.
Just do it. They will be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That comment by James does not make me feel better.
Before you take out the plants that are in there, purchase new plants so that when you take the old ones out, you immediately are putting new ones back in. And the fish will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Won't be a problem at all.
Thank you.
I agree wholeheartedly with what you're doing. I felt from the beginning that you needed a wider diversity of plants. And I'm delighted that you have seen that and you're moving forward. I like the fact that you have a plan and that you're working on that plan. So you're doing it step by step. This, I think it will turn out very well. I'm really excited to see how this works out. What will be interesting will be to see how the tank changes from the stem plants, the essentially bunch plants kind of environment you have now, to rooted plants, which is what you're more likely to wind up with. It will change the character of the tank, probably pretty dramatically. Keeping the driftwood and the rocks will give it some semblance of continuity. But I think,
Yeah, they will put back in.
yeah,
They will put the wood and the rocks back in, not where they were, but
uh, no, I like it. I think it's great. I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to seeing how it works out. Good
Don't
job.
overthink it, Lee. Just
You,
do
you
it.
may you
Plants for
may
background.
proceed, knave. You may proceed.
that's all I wanted to know. I will be very careful. I won't do it
I dare
erratically.
I dare say, yes, you will. You will indeed. I know you
Yeah,
will. I have
yeah.
I have every confidence.
Lee, you're not
It'll,
going to keep any plants that are in there, not even for background plants?
All he has is a nacris.
Good point, Cassie B. Cassie B, good point.
He has Vallisneria, right?
There are a few valve, yes. You probably ought to keep the valve.
You got your background plants right there. You just need maybe some
Yeah,
mid-ground and
that's
foreground.
that's it. They,
Yeah.
I put these grass plants in,
Mhm.
just 3 of them, and they seem to have gone off on a stem, and another one's grown, and
Right,
another
right.
stem's gone off, and another one's grown, and they're all around the sides and the back, but not the front.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
that's
I'll keep them. Oh, I'll
Good.
keep them. They look
Good.
great.
Yeah.
Cassie B, thank you so much.
Perfect.
I'll remove everything else. Some of it will go back in,
Yeah, all he's
but
taking out is the anacris.
yeah,
Anacris
they
or
grow.
Nubius?
You know, it's anacris.
Oh, I thought you
Yeah,
said.
the anacris, that just goes, for some reason, in my aquarium, that just goes bonkers.
Oh, it
And I
does.
love it.
it
I
does.
do love it. I do love it.
It's a great
But
plant.
I have it
I
in
want,
here. I have a little trimming in here.
Alex calls it a weed.
it is a weed.
It is weed-like. It certainly
Yeah.
is.
Yes.
Sitting that way, it's
Yeah.
going to.
And as you said, if
No
it
way you
likes
can
your tank, it is very much like a weed.
I mean, I'm planning on taking it out of the jar because there's just no way it could be in a jar.
It'll be growing throughout your house, and it'll be coming to get you in the night.
Really.
I think you're just worrying too much, Lee. You just got to do it. It'll be great. It will be great.
Oh, Joey,
It is
you got me. You hit the nail on the head. I just worry about everything
I know,
all
but
the
don't.
time.
Just get in there and make it the way you want it to be, and it'll make you so happy, and it'll be beautiful.
So,
And
where are you getting your
I'll make a
plants
video
from?
about it. And if it all goes wrong, you'll
It
still
won't.
see the video, because I've always said, no matter what happens, warts and all, if I get it right, it's all down to you. If I get it wrong,
No,
it's all down to me.
It won't be wrong.
I was waiting for that. Whose fault are you going to point the finger at?
Yeah, I
And
don't
those
think.
fish can survive a lot. You can get in there and mess around, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, you're not gonna have a problem.
I can get in there.
Mhm.
I can actually get in it.
I'm sure you rinse really well. Rinse your arm really well before you start messing in there.
Do I need to wear swimming trunks?
Good Lord. Don't get in that far.
You leave weight
I'm getting in it. I'm gonna get in it.
Hydra.
No.
What is Hydra? Tennessee would like to know, how does one get rid of Hydra?
Yeah, Tennessee Water is talking about Hydra.
Yeah.
What eats Hydra?
What's
Shrimp eat Hydra. Shrimp will eat Hydra. There's some fish that eat Hydra. Any kind of crustacean will eat
You gonna
Hydra.
leave?
Hydra really are bothered. Pardon?
You can stay and I'll go, Lee.
No. Cassie, all the best, my darling. Good luck. We're all behind you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet.
And we
Amen.
love you. And we love you. And we love you. You're going to be fine.
Okay.
All right.
Alex is saying Hydra eat most shrimp.
Leave. Bye. Love you.
All right. Bye-bye.
It eats the baby shrimp. Yeah, adult shrimp will eat Hydra. Fenbendazole. Sharpie's talking about
Yeah.
fenbendazole for Hydra.
Yeah. Dog wormer.
Or any other kind of pest.
Can
But
you
if you don't
explain
want
real
to
quick
use
what
that-
Hydra is? I'm not familiar with it.
As you said, there are things that will eat it if you don't want to go the chemical route. You can buy something.
Right.
Is that some kind of plant?
No,
Fenbendazole is a wormer.
it's like a freshwater anemone,
Okay.
Yeah.
except it's attached. It attaches to a surface,
I think I've seen that. I think I've had that.
and it has it's usually got tentacles, 4 tentacles or so, and it
Mhm.
sort of sits there and waves. It eats microscopic life. If
That
you
was kind of neat.
it'll show up. It'll show up in a tank where it'll show up with goldfish, baby goldfish. If you're feeding a lot of brine shrimp, it'll show up in there because it'll begin to develop and grow on the brine shrimp. It'll feed on them, and you can wind up with a population of them in a fry tank, and it will also attack the fries. So
Huh.
it's a very
I
undesirable.
don't. That's why I feed, like when I feed my babies, I sort of go light and go often. That's my thing. I don't put in, so many brine shrimp that the thing is crazy. I put in what they eat, and then a few hours later, I'll feed them again. And I do it that way rather than overload the tank once a day.
Yeah, that certainly
That's
helps.
how I do it.
Like a mice.
Have you ever found Hydra in your fry
No.
tank? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had it happen a few times.
Huh.
Yeah, no, I've not had a problem with it. But I said, I feed smaller amounts more often.
I've seen it on the
during
glass, and then I've just wiped it off the glass. But I didn't know it was called Hydra.
Yeah, I tend to if I have Hydra, I'll never have it in a deep substrate tank because there's so many other things in there that are able to take care of it. I wanted to make a comment about this because I think it's significant.
Good grammar and
Sorry.
I was looking at listening to a video last night where Dinah Wolstead was being interviewed about microgranula
I've seen that. I've seen
bacteria.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she made a really interesting point that people who have bacterial problems in their tank are people who are trying to maintain a sterile tank. So they're bleaching, they're deep cleaning, they're doing things to kill everything that's alive in the tank except their fish. What that does is create an open door welcome mat to destructive bacteria, which destructive bacteria tend to flourish in an environment that healthy bacteria are not able to live in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to keep your tank absolutely clean and absolutely sterile, there's every reason to fear your tank will be taken over by destructive, dangerous killer bacteria.
And that bacteria is resistant to bleach.
Yeah, it's also some of it is also can transfer to humans. Uh,
Yep.
there
In a
are
cut. Yep.
yeah. If you have a cut on your hand, it can
Right.
get in there
You
and
get,
form a wound that will be difficult to heal.
I was a nasty infection, and some people have to go on antibiotics for 30 days or something crazy.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So it's really important. It's absolutely vital that your fish tank be dirty. It must be dirty. If it's clean, it's your fish will probably die. So
Agree. I agree.
I've
I
stopped
know
water
as
changing
humans.
my 40 because of that. I'm leaving the poop at the bottom now.
good.
Well, I mean, as humans, you want to see clean, 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 but that doesn't mean it's the best thing for your fish.
We do, yeah. But I
You
think I might still siphon out the poo in my Beta's fish bowl. He leaves like nuggets
Just
of
compelled to
turd.
do it. Did you want to talk more about that, or do you want to move on to another question?
Well, I have the question on the beta poo. It seems like it's larger, and that will grow like fungus or something on it if I leave it there.
Well, bacteria will attack it, um,
Right.
and fungus can grow on it. I think I have fungus in a tank typically if I'm overfeeding baby fish, and particularly if I'm overfeeding decapsulated, non-hatching brine shrimp. They will form a mat on the bottom that will fungus. Now, I've never had it be a problem, and it's very easy to clean up because it's a mat. You can siphon it out, you can take it out with a net, comes out pretty easily. But excess feeding is the primary cause of that kind of problem, of a fungusing kind of problem. I had a customer in yesterday who said, "Oh, I don't overfeed. They eat everything. I don't overfeed. They eat everything. They always eat it all. So I'm not overfeeding."
Right.
Right. And I said to her, "Do you know how much food value is left in that food when the fish poops it out?" And she said, "No, she hadn't thought about that." And I said, "Well, it's about 80%. About 80% of the food that you put in is pooped out by the fish, essentially uneaten, undigested in any case. And so it must be eaten again and is eaten again by the same or other little fish because it still has food value. So when you put a pinch of food in, multiply that times 5 or 6. And that's how much food you're actually putting in. That's 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 how if you will, that's how often that food gets eaten. So simply making sure that the fish are eating it is not preventing the food that you're feeding from polluting the tank. Case in point, Tetramin. And I hate to mention this by name, but they advertise their food will not foul the water. And it's true. You can dump a can of Tetramin in a tank and it will not foul. But if the fish eat it, it will foul the water. And why is that? Because it's partially broken down. And bacteria are able to attack it, fungus grow on it, it fouls the water. That's not that has nothing to do with it. That's not an umbrage against tetramet. That's true of all food. Um, but it's simply to say that the notion that there is a food that will not foul the water is aberrant nonsense. If it is, if it has nutritional value, regardless of what coating is on it, once the fish break it down and begin to eat it, they produce waste that in excess will foul the water. So if you're feeding your fish 5 times a day, a little tiny bit 5 times a day, the cumulative impact of all of that food will build up day after day after day, and you will wind up with a foul, smelly, stinky mess, especially if you have gravel in your tank, because that food will go down into the gravel. The fish will not be able to retrieve it to eat it, and it will rot. It will not break down into its component parts. It will rot and it will foul the. That's why you have to be cleaning gravel all the time. That's why it's the worst thing you can possibly put in a fish tank. Gravel is destructive of a healthy tank. Don't use it. You can put a little bit on top as a decoration if you like it. I really like the tiny river rock. I think it's really pretty
It's
and,
pretty.
and really beautiful in a tank. I use it to make paths and,
Yeah.
just a decorative surface.
Yeah.
But I don't do it an inch thick.
Right. You just use it to decorate with. Yeah. To get
Right.
a look that you want.
And it's very nice. It's really very nice.
It is. It is.
So,
I have some.
feeding
may-
your fish live food, bloodworms, baby brine shrimp, it's all like going to foul the tank if the poo is there still on the bottom being uneaten. Like
If
the
you
bread
would,
fish does not reconsume its poo.
yeah, we're talking about overfeeding. So any overfeeding is going to create excess nutrition in the tank, no matter what you're feeding. If you're feeding very very heavily, you need to be doing water changes. In fact, if you're feeding very heavily, you really ought to have those fish in a bare bottom tank so you can clean it out routinely. Uh, fish that are, if you're feeding, for example, if you're feeding baby fish ought to be fed 3, 4, 5 times a day. They ought to be fed routinely. You can't do that unless you're doing water changes, unless you're getting that or at least siphoning off the bottom, because it produces waste, and the waste has to be dealt with. And the way to deal with the waste is to remove it. Even putting it in a filter is still leaving it in the tank. So, in that kind of a situation, the other aspect of that is that research has found that baby fish that are put in water that's constantly changing grow faster and are healthier. If they're in new, if you can create a flow through situation where new water is constantly being introduced into your tank and old water taken off, and you're feeding heavily, those fish are going to grow as fast as they're able to grow. They'll grow faster and they'll be healthier. And if you're feeding adult fish in order to beef them up to for egg production and spawning, that's a short-term kind of process. You do that over a period of days, maybe 3, 4, 5 days a week tops, to get them in prime condition, and they then should spawn. It's not something you do persistently long term. It's a relatively short term kind of fix. So I'm not talking about feeding a good quality food on a routine basis. I'm talking about overfeeding, excessive feeding over a short term for a specific purpose, which would be primarily for egg production to get the female's egg mass um, mature so that she's ready to spawn.
Yeah. Petroman
So-
saying he has cories and he has sand on top. The cories will eat any of the excess food that the baby discus are not eating.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We have another question. It's a completely different subject.
All right.
Fishmark comes in. Does anyone have experience with treating cyanobacteria
Oh
with
yeah.
erythromycin?
Yeah.
Is there anything I need to know besides following the directions?
I forgot we had that question. Yeah.
Cyano is caused by 5 different things. There are basically 5 different things you can do about it. Number 1 is overfeeding. Cyano is always a function of excess nutrition in the tank, primarily in the water column. Reduce feeding. You can physically remove cyano. It is essentially a slime coat on the surface of the substrate, rocks, whatever. So it can be physically removed. Water changes will reduce the nutrition content of the water and essentially starve out the cyano. You can cover it up. You can bury it. That doesn't get rid of it, but in conjunction with some other steps, it helps to control cyano. And the fifth, of course, is you can treat it. There are treatments for cyanobacteria. Once those treatments have worked, if you're going back to the same routine you had, it's going to come back and you'll have it again. So you need to take care of the causes of the cyno, which are primarily excess nutrition, excessive nitrates to be specific, and the phosphates.
Right.
You can-
Father Fish.
yes.
Find I get it when I just added a little more sand and I didn't have it at all until I added a little more sand in the bowl. And now
Yeah,
cyano
yeah.
on the new sand.
You change the biological structure of the surface, it'll clear up. The other thing is that unless it becomes absolutely overwhelming, it clears up. It's
Okay.
not anything that's going to be a permanent condition if everything else is right. If you're not overfeeding, if you're doing some routine water changes, it will go away. It'll clear up. It's something that occurs. There are any number of things like that, particularly in saltwater tanks, but freshwater as well. When you're setting up a tank, there are things that move in right away
Mm-hmm.
and they become dominant. Algae are a perfect example. Various kinds of algae will set up housekeeping and they will run rampant through the tank for a week or two. And then something else will begin to come in and overwhelm that. And there will be this constant development, constant fluctuation, constant changing of different forms of life coming into the environment. Some will be dominant for a while, but they'll always be overcome by something else. A healthy tank is a tank that has many, many, many different kinds of life forms in it, particularly bacteria. There are there are millions of types of bacteria. Not very many of them are dangerous. You control the dangerous ones with the good ones. The good ones, in sufficient vigor, will always overcome bad bacteria. So the more bacteria you have, now that's not to say you need to load your tank up with waste and create a lot of muck. That's not it at all. Bacteria come into your tank in many different ways. New plants coming in, new fish coming in, uh, purchasing or collecting some substrate from an existing environment, whether it's someone else's fish tank or a pond out in the backyard. That brings bacteria in, living bacteria that are going to culture, that will culture your tank and make it a richer environment. So the whole notion here is to promote life, promote growth, promote, and in so doing, promote the health of the tank.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I noticed the cyano was appearing in my bowls that had like I used a lot of soil substrate in there and maybe not enough sand cap. So like the second bowl I set up, I never got it. But the first one, I'm still getting it. Like it went away, but then I added like a little more sand and it's back.
Yeah,
And that's the one I was gonna redo, but I'm like I haven't redone it.
it'll clear up. You know, the new sand, obviously, the new sand on the surface does not have living in it the organisms that are living on the surface of the old sand. They've been covered up. They need to migrate. They need to migrate up, and it takes a little time for that to happen.
Okay. Well, and it sounds like I need to keep cleaning out the beta poo whenever I see it. Just take
Yeah,
it out there.
your call. You know, that's an aesthetics issue.
I was thinking it would go down into the substrate, and the substrate would take care of it. But
well, it will. It will in time.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but again, it really is an aesthetics issue. I have a kind of a different approach with bettas. I don't really, because I keep bettas in relatively small containers. I don't try to create a long-term balanced environment in those containers. I know you can do it. Cassie's doing it, and she's learning to do it and doing it really effectively. Yeah, it's and you know it's
second
a
bowl.
learning process. You know, I don't do it because mainly I don't do it because it's so easy to clean out those small containers.
Well, you're doing the 1 gallons. You showed us, the 1 gallons you have in your store yesterday when you were putting all the beta fish in there.
Yeah, right.
Balanced.
Yeah, they never get cleaned. They're balanced.
Yeah.
They have
And
plants
you're
growing.
doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. But
I don't know. I might
that's
be
not
eating
a
my beta fish more than you.
That's not a small container. That's an 8 foot long, system that has dividers that are slotted. So theoretically, that water is moving all the way through the whole system. I used, at one point I put pumps in, very small pumps that flow the water very slowly through it, and I found the fish did not like it at all. It was hard to keep them alive with that.
Bettas don't like that. Yeah.
No, they don't like it at all. So I don't do that. It is still quiet water, but it does of its own nature. It does exchange with with what are in adjacent cells, simply because there are openings there.
Yeah.
Hmm. But you're probably not feeding your betta fish as much because I'll do like 6 to 8 bloodworms every other day.
Yeah, that's probably what mine get. Thomas has been experimenting with feeding excess bloodworms in order to create a culture of bloodworms or blackworms in each of the cells. That seems to be working. I remember I did that as a kid. I had excess worms in the tank, and that you could see them in the bottom with their heads sticking up, kind of wiggling and feeding in the water column.
Look like little clams.
Yeah, the fish would occasionally go down, nab one. So we're trying to do that. I don't know. I think that's a reasonable thing to do. The problem with it is that if something happens and the water crashes.
Right.
If the O2 suddenly goes down, it could wipe them out, and that would foul the entire
Right. You got a lot of dead
and
worms.
kill the fish. So it's somewhat problematic doing it.
If you're creating a culture of the black worms, do you think are the beta fish going down and getting them out of the sand and trying to eat on?
Yeah, they don't root. They don't root in the sand for them, but when
Right.
they stick their little heads up, they nab them.
Oh, okay,
So yeah, they'll get them.
neat. All right.
But
I was
again,
wondering
if
about
you
that.
overdo it in a tank that's still with no water movement, if you overdo it, it'll create an anaerobic layer
Mm-hmm.
because they'll burn up the oxygen right at the bottom.
Okay.
And if that happens, they'll die off. And if they die off, they'll create a
Yeah.
mass bacteria explosion that will wipe out the oxygen in the entire system. And now the bacteria, the oxygen deprivation will not kill the betta, but the excess bacteria will attack the betta
Right.
and will bring it down. Even a healthy betta cannot tolerate excessive bacteria, attacks of excessive bacteria. And this is the thing about bacteria: all bacteria is potentially pathogenic. All bacteria. If you have a sick fish, he has a wound, and you put him in any tank, and you haven't done something to to help that wound heal, it'll be attacked by bacteria. That's why I recommend you put something on the wound, some kind of an
Yeah.
antiseptic, in order to prevent bacteria from getting into the wound. You can't put a bandage on it exactly, but there are a lot of things you can do that'll work pretty well.
Yeah.
And
So
what were you saying caused that? The black worms?
Excessive bacteria, no,
excessive
excessive
bacteria. Yeah.
bacteria.
Oh, so you moved away from the worms when you said that. Okay.
Yeah.
It was,
We were
He
yeah,
was just he was
yeah,
just generalizing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
But the worms are good,
Michael,
right?
Well, the
as
worms
their
are
lives.
food, and they do help. They do help essentially clean the water, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
Um.
it can be a problem because they're burning up oxygen at the bottom of the container, and if you do not have water movement, you're depending on the natural movement of the water, uh, based on um, based on the rise of CO2 and the solution of O2 entering, which is a very, very slow kind of process. So you can wind up having a mass of worms in the bottom, no water flow, and they'll die off for a lack of oxygen, and in the process, foul the whole container.
That's what I thought you said. The worms will die off down there.
If there's not enough
Okay.
oxygen to support them, yes.
And create other issues. Yeah.
All right. I guess
So
I'm just a little confused on that. Can we
so
talk
can we
about
do
that
one more
more
question,
later?
Father Fish?
Go ahead, Joey.
We have Michael Long asking, can undergravel filters be used in a deep substrate sand or dirt setup?
No. Um, and the reason is really quite simple. If you think about it, the whole function of an undergravel filter is to pull water through the entire substrate. When you do that, you're moving oxygen down into that substrate and you're destroying any anaerobics that are in there. Now, the reality is, in time, the detritus that's pulled through will pack because there actually are currents of water going through. Water travels in the least resistive path. So, but those paths clog up in time. And as they do, water goes around them and they become anaerobic. So, you really do eventually create anaerobics in a deep substrate a deep gravel, under gravel system.
Yeah.
It's not it's not as secure as doing without it. Now, what I recommend, if you have a deep substrate tray in the bottom of your tank,
Right.
you've got substrate on top of it, is take out the tube, take out the riser tube, and leave it in there.
Yeah.
That will
Don't
form
disturb it.
pardon.
I said, don't disturb it. Leave what's
Don't
there.
disturb it. Just leave it in there. Right. It'll form a plenum at the bottom of the tank, which will house anaerobic bacteria, malm, and so forth, and is a very beneficial way to create a substrate. Not necessary, but
And they
it's
could cap that with sand.
you cap
Right.
it with sand. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Because I was just going to say, if you already have that going and you want to change it, but you addressed it.
Just
yes.
take the riser tube out,
Yeah.
cap it with sand, and don't clean it. Just leave it alone permanently. Leave it alone permanently. It's the other thing that's important about a deep substrate. You may never, 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 never clean it. Never. If you do, you will kill everything in the tank because you'll be releasing bacteria that will exhaust the tank of oxygen and kill the fish.
So would it be a good thing to do when you're taking plants out, as carefully as possible, to just do a water change after that? After you remove some plants?
Um, what would that accomplish? What are you thinking?
Yeah.
Well, you're saying don't ever disturb the substrate, but it gets a little disturbed when you're doing what Lee's about to do and taking plants out.
Yeah, you can do. There's no good reason not to do it. I find that 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 precipitative matter that's pulled up with the roots goes right back down in pretty quickly. Within an hour, it's gone.
Okay.
You don't even see it anymore.
Well, that was my question. So
No. Yeah,
if it would harm your fish by doing
I
that
don't think so.
without
You'd
the
have
water
to
change.
you'd have to really stir it up pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Pulling
exactly.
a plant out's not going to do it. I mean, I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Particularly plants that have a big root system, like the Java temples or the Amazon swords. They can get massive root systems, and I pull them up. I try to jiggle them a little as I'm pulling them up, so I don't just pull up a whole rush of.
Well, I said carefully. You're doing it carefully.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
you always try.
I was
to
just wondering if it was still harmful, even if you're doing it carefully.
Not significantly so, I don't think. No.
Because ironically, I lost a couple cories after I did that. Like, what? I disturbed the substrate too much.
Hard to say. Yeah,
Yeah.
certainly could be. Cories are a bottom feeder, and they're
Mm.
going to go after whatever's on the bottom. I don't know what would be down there that would hurt them, but I don't know what would be down there that would hurt them. There certainly could be something that they could ingest that would not be good for them. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Just wondering.
Are we on a? Are we
We
on
are over our time.
9:30?
Yeah.
Let's play a tune here. What do we got? Dooby doo.
Tisha just ordered some plants. So happy planting, Tisha.
Yeah.
I was
Yes.
supposed to come out planting, but my mind mixed your name up in the words.
I have a big order of plants coming in tomorrow, and I have turtles coming in tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
That'll
we'll
be
do
fun.
a little video about that. What would you like to hear? How about my fish are mad at me? How about Father Fish starring? Here we go.
They certainly will be here in a second.
Right. Right.
Lee's going to stress all his fish out.
Really. Take care, guys. Love you all.
Thank
We're going to probably. I'm going to meet Thomas we're going to try to do a little collecting. So we will try to go live in the process. So we may well see you a little later today. Stay tuned. Bye bye, all. Love you all.
Good luck collecting.
Let's talk about FISHY. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Fish. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Fish.
Here's the music.
Bye, all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye, guys.